Hey y'all, it's Susan with Susan's Country Living. Welcome to my channel, welcome to my kitchen. And today I'm going to be making hot dog buns and hamburger buns for the freezer because we have run out, and I'm going to use fresh milled flour. So what I have here is some hard white wheat and some spelt. So I'm going to measure out 340 grams of my hard white wheat, and then 80 grams of some spelt berries. And I have a mock mill 100. For someone like me who's not baking really even weekly, maybe, every other week, this one works great for me. We're going to get this going and mill up our wheat. Okay, so our wheat is milled. I mill it on just the finest settings. It's going to be a little warm because of the milling process. And we're going to go ahead and get started over here. Now, I get my wheat berries from Barton Springs Mill. They're in the hill country of Texas, a little west of Austin, and we happen to have gone there a couple days ago to pick up an order. Usually I do mail order, but we were going to go visit some family, so I thought I'm going to go place my order and pick it up. It's a really neat place. They have tours and classes. They have a bake shop that's open, I think it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They're kind of behind I guess it's a whiskey distillery, kind of off the road a little bit, but really pretty easy to get to. And the quality of their berries is great. They're clean, and they take great care in packaging, and just a really, really great place. We even got to talk to the guy the owner of the place, and they have an online. You can look up Barton Springs Mill. It's in Dripping Springs, Texas. So go check them out and order from them. They tell you exactly where the wheat comes from, and they've got a great variety of different wheat berries. Even though I'm not baking a loaf of bread, I like to use this because I can set it and let it go and walk away and do some other things, and it's going to do exactly what I need it to do. This is a Vevor, V-E-V-O-R, and I like it. It's really simple to use, and it has a ceramic pan, not Teflon. So if you're looking into getting a bread machine, be sure that you get a ceramic pan, because we know that Teflon can emit fumes, and I don't want that because we're trying to eat clean, so we want to eliminate any of those kinds of problems that could be toxic in our environment. So this is just a recipe that I got from Grains in Small Places. It's hamburger or hot dog buns using fresh milled flour, and I've made this before, and it's better than any bun that you could buy anywhere. So what I have is I did a cup of warm water and 1/4 cup of softened butter, put it in the microwave for about a minute, and when you use a bread machine, you want to add all your liquid things first. And you want to take it out so that you don't end up messing up your inside of your bread machine. So we're going to pour our liquid ingredients in. So my butter and water, 1/3 cup of sugar. You could use honey if you wanted to. I'm going to use just a organic, kind of a brownish colored sugar. And salt, 1 teaspoon of salt. I use Redmond real salt. I really like it. So 1 teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to give that a little mix. I need to mix up my egg here before I put it in there. I want to do that. So I have 1 egg from our chickens. You don't want your water too hot, just kind of lukewarm. Now I'm not adding the yeast right now. So I have all of my wet ingredients. And then we put the flour on top. So I have my fresh milled flour. And we're just going to scoop it in on top. So we've switched over to using fresh milled flour pretty much everything, and I mill just what we need, and I store the wheat berries, and they will last for years and years and years. All right, so we're going to put this in the bread maker. So mine has a menu on top, and I'm just going to use the bread dough function, where it's just going to mix and knead. Bread dough and it starts by stirring first, and then once it's incorporated all the flour in, then it starts the kneading process. And I like to kind of, if I see that there's flour kind of up high, I like to push it down. So with fresh milled grain, you need to let the grain, the flour absorb the liquid. That's going to take longer than if you were using a store-bought flour that's has been already milled. So we're going to, once this kneads or mixes together, just the mixing part, then I'm gonna cut the machine off and let it set for 15 minutes to let the moisture hydrate the flour so that we don't get a dry bread. So we're gonna let that mix, and you can leave your bread machine open while you're doing this. Remember, I've not added the yeast yet. We want to hydrate the flour. Right here. It's just mixing right now. So my stirring is finished. I'll show you what it kind of looks like. Just a smooth looking dough, but there's no yeast. And what I did is I took a paper towel and I wet it and squeezed it out, because I don't want my dough to get dry at all. And I just lay this over the top of my little pan and close the door and set the timer for 15 minutes. Okay, so my 15 minutes is up, and now I'm ready to add 2.5 teaspoons of an instant yeast. I think it's instant. I don't know, but it's worked for me. I've had this in the freezer for a long time, so I really don't know if it's instant or just regular yeast. But what you do is you just sprinkle it on top. And we're going to mix it in. So I'm going to use that mix feature again here. Start. So it's going to mix the yeast in, and then it's going to knead it. And I'm going to let it go through its cycle of kneading. And you want it to pass the window pane test, and we'll look at that when we get there. So I'm just going to let this go and go get some things done. Okay, now we're going to do the window pane test. So I'm going to get just a little bit of dough, and it needed, oh goodness, 8 minutes, maybe even a little bit longer. It is going to be sticky, so I'm going to get a little bit of water on my hands. And I just grab some dough, and what I want to do is stretch it like this. So it's given me a, kind of see the light through there. It's called the window pane test, and it's breaking a little bit up here, but I think from what I've experienced before, this was plenty of time for the kneading to occur. So I'm going to take it out of my machine. And I have a bowl. I'm going to add some, I use avocado oil. Just add some, I like to oil my bowl. And this called for oiling the top of the dough. So what I do is I'm just going to take it out here. And my dough is warm because this bread machine has a little bit of a warming to it. So I'm just going to take it, it's just a little sticky, but that's okay. That's going to come out from this rise. So I'm just going to shape it into a ball. I put it in my bowl and give it a good twirl. Flip it over, and now it's oiled on top. I'll use that wet paper towel on top of that, and then I'll also put another, like a tea towel over it. And we're going to let it go till it's doubled in bulk, which is going to be 45 minutes to an hour because the dough it does feel warm to the touch. It may go a little quicker. Okay, our dough has doubled in bulk. Nice, wonderful texture, I can tell already. And what I'm going to do is take some baking sheets and parchment paper. So we've got those set aside. And I'm going to oil my countertop. It said to oil the countertop to work with the dough. I'm going to just put some avocado oil. I'm going to spread it out a little bit. But I want to weigh my dough because I want to divide it into 12 parts as close as possible. So I've got my see, I can handle it really well. And we're going to see how much this dough weighs. So 806 grams divided by 12 gives me about 67 grams per bun. So spread that oil out. And I'm going to give it a pinch and see what I've got. That's 54. A little more. 64. 72. 69. Yeah, that's good. 69 would be good. 67, there's 67. So, about the size of maybe a little bit bigger than a golf ball. And it says for the hamburger buns to roll each ball into a sphere. And you want to gently put some surface tension on it. And I do that by just kind of pulling down like that. And pinching under that bottom there. You don't want it to tear though, but that surface tension just makes a better shaped bun. And then it says to place it on the baking sheet. I'll move this to where you can see it because my hands are oily and I don't want to move things around. So you get your tension, you want to make sure it's all pinched on the bottom for your hamburger bun. And then it says to place it, and you want to flatten it out just a little bit like that into a circle. I'm going to grab some plastic wrap and cover it up as I work so that my dough doesn't dry. And just give it a cover like that. The hot dog buns, you want to kind of do the same thing at first just to kind of get it some tension. And then what I do is I flatten them out like this. Into about 5 inches and roll it up. I put it on a part of the counter that's not oily. And I just kind of give it a roll like this. And there are some places where it tore a little bit. But that's okay. And I just add some tension by rolling and then pinching. Let me see if I can get this ring. Pinching the seam on the bottom. And it's about as long as a regular hot dog right now. And of course, it'll get a little longer and taller, and then be just a little bit bigger than the hot dog that will go inside. And I'm going to put this on my other baking sheet, and I put the hot dogs pretty close together. You know how when you get them in the store, they're kind of connected. I'll also do the same thing with the buns, the hamburger buns, because it does give a little more rise when they're able to grab onto one another. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put these on my sheet, and then I'll be adding them as I go, and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm finished. So I'm going to cover that with plastic wrap and get the rest of these buns made. Okay, so I've got all of my buns created and shaped up here, and I rub a little bit of oil on the top of them so they don't stick to the plastic wrap. And you can see these are the hot dog buns, and we're going to cover them up with some plastic wrap, and the oil keeps the plastic wrap from sticking. There. And then I have the buns, hamburger buns here, and I've done the same thing. I've rubbed them with some oil. I use avocado oil. You can use, a spray if you like, olive oil, just whatever you would like to use. Coconut oil. All right. So I've got these ready to rise, and it's pretty warm in here, and it says rise 30 to 40 minutes, and that's about what it took the last time. So here we have our buns. They have doubled in size and are ready to go into the oven. You can see how those have done. And then these are the hamburger buns. They're going to get a little larger when you put them in the oven, because the heat's going to cause them to rise a little more. But I've got my oven preheated to 350 degrees, and we're going to put them in there. It says 20 to 25 minutes. It says 20 to 25 minutes, or until the buns are 190 degrees Fahrenheit inside. And that's usually what I do. I use the thermometer to measure the temperature inside, so that I know that they are cooked all the way. So let's go ahead and put them in the oven and bake them. So here we have our beautiful hamburger buns and hot dog buns. So we're just transferring these to a rack. To let them cool. We're going to have some hot dogs for lunch. So I'll let those cool just a little bit, and then we'll be able to slice into them. I did take the temperature, just poke it right into the center and above 190, so I know that they're done. Also, if you hear that hollow sound on the bottom, so there's just some fresh milled hot dog and hamburger buns to have with your hot dogs, or we use grass-fed lamb or grass-fed beef to make our burgers. So hope y'all have a great fall and enjoy some cooler weather. Bye y'all.